Vampire stories. Today we will talk about the myth of Sarah Ellen, the vampire woman who was buried in Pisco, and the mystery behind her grave. We're talking about Dracula's bride. At the beginning of the 90s, when psychosocial issues were the order of the day, the myth of Sarah Ellen became famous. Learn more about this urban legend that terrified Peru during those years. On June the 9th, 1993, everyone had their eyes on the small coastal city of Pisco. During that day, dozens of journalists, shamans, and curious people came to the place to witness one of the most incredible supernatural events in the country, the resurrection of Sarah Ellen, the vampire woman. All this collective hysteria was unleashed because in one of Christina Sherlig's programs, a vampire specialist revealed that one of the women of Count Dracula was buried in a cemetery in Pisco, who would resurrect in 1993 to exact revenge. Subscribe and like so we can make more content like this. Thank you. The myth of Sarah Ellen. According to this urban legend, Sarah Ellen was a British woman who in 1913 was accused of dedicating herself to witchcraft and the occult. She even went so far as to say that on a trip to Transylvania, Dracula himself seduced her and turned her into a vampire woman. If you are liking the video, subscribe and like it so we can make more content like this. Thank you. Faced with these events, the residents of her native Blackburn put her on trial and sentenced her to death. After being executed by a stake through the heart, the family was prohibited from burying her in England, so her husband, John Roberts, took her remains far away, where no one would know the story she carried on her back. This is how she arrived on the Peruvian coast, and ended up buried in the municipal cemetery of Pisco. However, the most terrifying thing about this story is that Sarah Ellen before dying cursed her executioners and promised to return from death after 80 years to seek revenge. That fearsome prophecy would be fulfilled on June the 9th, 1993. What happened on June the 9th, 1993 in Pisco? When the day arrived, hundreds of people, reporters and cameramen included, approached the San Alberto Pavilion of the General Cemetery of Pisco, armed with crucifixes and holy water. But no Sarah Ellen appeared. Even today, however, her niche is one of those that receives the most flowers and candles. The fear is no longer the same, but we must venerate it, just in case you doubt it. In the municipality of Pisco there is the death certificate of Sarah Ellen, which states that, indeed, she died on June the 9th, 1913. However, there is also the birth certificate of her son, who was born on June the 3rd, 1913. This means that that supposed vampire woman was never murdered in England, but rather died in Pisco due to cardiac arrest, 6 days after giving birth to her Peruvian son. The myth of Sarah Ellen was made into a film. The Peruvian film directed by Roger Asto Leon is based on passages from the life of Sarah Ellen, 1870 to 1913. Although to make it more interesting, the director chose to add to the story a vampire hunter, who serves as the film's narrator, and a young journalist, who investigates with the aim of killing him. The cast is made up of renowned actors such as Sergio Galliani, Connie Calparo, Oscar Lopez Arias, Lucecita Cevallos, Olga Zumaran, and Javier Arboleta. From vampire woman to saint, the fear that Sarah Ellen generated at some point is now history. Many local residents claim that he is a pure soul, and that he has performed several miracles. This idea became stronger after the earthquake that hit Pisco in 2007. Ellen's mausoleum was the only one that remained standing and intact, and those around her collapsed. Sarah Ellen in the world. The urban legend about Sarah Ellen is so well known that various influencers from other countries tell her story through their social networks, making the story of the vampire woman much better known in the world. See you